Welcome to Podcast Combat Sports. I'm your host, Frank Palumbo. This is the MMA and Wrestling podcast for Northern New York, Vermont, and the surrounding areas. Today we are joined by Tough 16 alumni Matt Secor of Spa City BJJ in Saratoga, New York. Matt is coming off a recent victory at Bellator 144 last weekend, and he shares with us some insight on the victory, some training, his transition from amateur in the Vermont area to professional, making it to the big shows, and life in general. Before we get to his interview, we are going to cover some results from over the weekend. First, we have the UFC Fight Night 77 from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Vitor Belfort and Dan Henderson collide for the third time, resulting in a knockout for Belfort. Also, Glover Teixeira knocks out Patrick Cummins in the first round. Thomas Almeida defeats Anthony Burchak, also by first-round knockout. Other notable fights include Gleason Tebow's successful campaign against Abel Trujillo via submission in the first round. Also, Clay Guida fought on the undercard, falling by submission to Thiago Tavares in the very first round. Whitehall Athletic Club had their third event, Conquest. In the main event, Mike Bennett took the strap off of Ian Beatriz at the featherweight division via front choke in the second round. Bryce Burns defeated Corey Yance in the lightweight division via stoppage in the first round. Andre Belcaris, last week's guest, defeated Antonio Feliciano via TKO in the second round. And rounding out the main card was Max Spellman defeating Dylan Bishop in the lightweight division via TKO in the first round. A quick shout, I want to give a thank you to Elizabeth Downing from the Whitehall Athletic Club. She offered me a couple of tickets to the event. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. We were having our fourth son baptized over the weekend, but I want to give a very special thank you to Elizabeth Downing, and I will be at that next event. Friday night showed Bellator's 145 Vengeance, rivaling the UFC's fight card for the weekend. The main event featured Daniel Strauss defeating Patricio Pitbull via unanimous decision. In the co-main event, Will Brooks impressed once again with a victory over Marcin Held. Michael Chandler had an impressive victory over Dan Rickles in the lightweight division, stopping him in the second round via punches. Bobby Lashley also looked good, defeating James Thompson in the first round via TKOs in under a minute. Our guest for this week, again, is Matt Secor. Matt fights out of Spa City BJJ in Saratoga, New York. He's a former Burlington Brawl fighter, and after compiling a 6-0 amateur record, he turned pro, only to be featured on The Ultimate Fighter Season 16, World Series of Fighting, and lastly, Bellator. Early Monday afternoon, he announced his next opponent, which, if you haven't heard, we'll share again at the end of the show. So without further ado, here is Matt Secor.
Hello?
Hello, is Matt there?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, it's Frank Palumbo.
Hey, what's up, Frank?
Not much, man. How's things going?
Not too bad, man. Waiting for my kid to pop out.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen that on Facebook. She's looking pretty ready.
Yeah, she's pregnant, man.
That's for sure. So, when's the due date?
Next Tuesday, but I think she's gonna go early.
Yeah, you'd be surprised sometimes.
They're
pretty comfortable.
I just want to meet the little dude.
You got a name picked out?
What was that?
Do you have a name picked out?
Ian Matthew.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, can't wait, man.
So, you get the baby coming out pretty soon. Your last fight was what, about 2 weeks ago?
Yep, 2 weeks ago. Yep.
And that was World Series of Fighting. I'm sorry,
That was about.
Bellator. I have it written down right here. 160 something? 144?
144.
Yeah, cool. Tell me about that fight. I actually did not get to see it. It didn't air.
Yeah. We got pushed to the prelims. I didn't mind. I had to fight earlier, so it didn't really matter to me. Yeah, I fought a tough guy from North Carolina. He's 7-0. Pretty dangerous. But we subdued him fairly easy, so without taking any damage.
Yeah, man, that's always a plus. Were you able to take him down, or how did it happen?
I've been working a lot with my coach, Darren Rafferty and Eddie Fivey. I'm just being comfortable on my feet. Our ground game's so strong that being comfortable on the feet and getting the fight to where we want it is our main goal. Mixing a lot of stuff up. And sometimes, punches come off of that, But, I took him down fairly quick in the first round. I caught his kick, took him down, passed his guard, stayed in side control for a minute, and then mounted him. And we had a game plan at the end of the fight, 30 seconds at the end of the fight. We were going to go for something every round. And 30 seconds ago, I went for a mounted triangle. I was too close to the fence, though, and I lost it. And I ended up out of the first round in the guard. I had an adrenaline dump in the first round. I don't know if you've ever had one of those, have you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't know if it was, I was mentally prepared for the fight, but I don't know if it was the rush out. In the prelims, they kind of just rush you out. But I don't know if it was that or what it was, but I felt like about at 50% in that first round. Got over it, persevered through the round, came out in the second round, felt even better than I did walking into the fight. First round comes around, we're moving around. I threw a kick, I thought he was going a certain way, and he hit me right in my lip, and hit me pretty hard. But I can say myself having a strong enough chin. Can take some damage, I guess. I don't know if it's smart or not smart.
So at this point, were you still on the feet, or were you down on the mat? Were you on your back?
No, so we were standing. He didn't catch me too flush, but he caught me. He cut my lip open a little bit. And I came out, took him down. Again, ended up in guard, passed his guard. Was going for an arm triangle, got put back into the half guard. And then 30 seconds hit, and I went for a knee bar. Switched the knee bar to straight Achilles, the Achilles to a heel hook, and I ended up catching him in a heel hook.
Cool. So pretty much the sequence that you practice.
Yeah, it's a pretty high level transition. I think the difference between basic jiu-jitsu and high level jiu-jitsu is just transitioning. It's any special moves or anything. I think it's just transitioning now and knowing when to transition. But I work at a lot. I wish I had the knee bar, the first one I went for, but I had to react and go for what he gave me.
This is your second fight in Bellator?
That's my first fight. I was supposed to fight in July against Josh Neer, and he backed out 5 days before the fight.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Now, Josh Neer was the kickboxer who's had not so much success in MMA?
No, Josh Neer was a UFC fighter. They called him Josh the Dennis Neer. He fought for the UFC for a long time. Fought a lot of good guys. I thought stylistically he matched up well. I think this might have been his first fight with Bellator as well.
Okay, so I was thinking of someone different.
I think you're thinking of Joe Schillings.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking.
Yeah, Joe Schillings is a beast, man.
Yeah, they I heard that he just had trouble kind of transferring over to MMA. But yeah, he's one hell of a striker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
this is what, about 2 weeks since your last fight?
Yep.
So what have you been doing in the meantime? Like resting, a little R&R, or are you back at it?
I always train. Training is a part of my life. I don't feel in tune if I'm not doing jiu-jitsu or not doing something. But yeah, just chilling. I'm about to announce a huge fight. My next fight January 29th in Fresno, California. Can't announce who it is yet. But it's gonna be pretty cool. It's a pretty big opportunity that Bellator gave me, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Awesome. Right now I'm a humble little podcast, but I'll get into hopefully breaking news in the next year or so.
Yeah, but, dude, it's a journey in 10,000 miles starts with a single step, right?
Yeah, that's right, and it's a nice start, but and actually it's like the demographic I'm going for is Vermont and Northern New York, so you definitely fit that demographic, having fought over in Vermont a couple of times, and actually the very first card that I fought on, which I believe was like March of 2010, you were on that card.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the first thing he said to me was like, hey, are you the Frank Palumbo that knows Lenny Baker?
Yeah, Lenny's a good friend of mine. You guys won the national title, I think.
Yeah, about 10 or 15 minutes apart. Yeah.
Yep.
His match was a lot better than mine.
Hey, you won, man. That's it's a huge acclimate that I don't have. So that's awesome. I wish I had a national title through wrestling. It's an awesome thing to have.
Do you still see Lenny?
I do. I haven't seen Lenny in a little bit, but yeah, Lenny's around every now and then.
He's probably in good shape, huh?
He always is, man. Lenny always stays in the gym. He's a good dude, man. Really good person.
Yeah, love Lenny. I mean, he was so freaking good and so goddamn strong for the weight class. It was ridiculous. But smart, and I was a year ahead of him, so I saw him when he came in, and it was like, oh man, Lenny's freaking good. And then once he just got a year of experience, I mean, he was just walking through competition. It was.
Yeah, I think one of his problems was staying healthy.
Yeah, he had that injury at the end of the career, and that just sucks. But when he came out freaking strong. The other thing I remember was your walkout song, and I'm curious to see if you're still coming out to the same song. It was Old Red, the song by Miranda Lambert. Yeah, Blake Shelton. You still coming out to that song?
I'm not. I come out to another country song. I come out to Picture of Me by Lee Brice.
Uh-huh.
But I like country, man. I don't know. I'm necessarily not even in the zone of mind to hear my music when I'm ready to fight. Kind of just focused on one thing. But I like country music. It's truthful to me, I guess. I don't know. I don't need all that rap or that crazy rock to come out to.
Yeah, I'm mostly listening to country right now, but when it comes to fighting, I kind of like, for my walkout songs, I stuck to rock. But
a lot of people do.
I was always looking for that one country song that was gonna get me hyped up a little bit, and I never quite found it. But there's just so much good music out there. You had fought in Vermont a couple of times as an amateur.
Yeah.
How many amateur fights did you have? About 5 or 6?
I had 6, yeah.
Yeah, undefeated as an amateur, right?
I was, submitted everyone.
So, what was it that you finally did, or like accomplished, or some kind of milestone that made you decide that you were ready to go pro?
So, I think it was more of a coaching thing. I think my coaches kind of were like, hey, we're kind of beating up all these amateurs. Let's, You know, and I think that's a huge part of people's career is, you know, you want to be guided in the right direction and not go early, not go too late. You know, timing's huge. But it's like, I'd probably say my coaches were like, okay, it's time to go pro. Let's see what you got. And then we made that decision and started training for the pro fight.
So was there anything like measurable, like a certain opponent, or was it just readiness?
You know, I think it was just, you know, I think I was ready before I was even took the pro fight. I thought I was always ready, but I mean, that's just my mentality. I won some big jiu-jitsu tournaments, and it just was time, you know. My level was getting to a place where I wouldn't be challenged at amateur. And I'm trying to get to become the best, you know, so.
Yeah, so, yeah, you know, I had seen you at the Naga tournament, I think it was this past summer and the summer before. I think you were reffing and you were competing this year.
Well, what happened with that was I was reffing. I reffed for Naga for about 6 years. Good buddies of mine. It was fun, but sometimes they wouldn't have enough people in the division, or I wanted to grapple. In this one, I wanted to grapple. I didn't want to referee, and so I grappled, and there was I think 3 black belts in it, and I just wanted to grapple and win the belt for our school because it's kind of our hometown tournament. So.
Oh yeah, right down there in Glens Falls, and you're at Spa City.
Yeah, yep, Spa City, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. You travel around much to train, or you pretty much just stay in house?
No, I travel a lot, man. I drive to Long Island once a week. I drive to Albany 3 times a week. I drive to Latham twice a week. I drive to Malta 6 days a week. I drive a lot, dude.
Life of a fighter, huh?
You know, with any great person, with other greatness, there's sacrifice. And I think a big part about being a good fighter is learning how to balance a lot of things and knowing what to sacrifice and you know, when to be selfish and when not to be selfish. But my wife is wonderful, man. She's I don't know how I got so lucky. She's super supportive. You know, I have to go somewhere. She understands. We go. We play around what I do. So I get the good end of the marriage stick, man. For right now, hopefully I can repay her back someday.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's crucial because you know, the support system it's so big. You know, you have those obligations, and you know, when you have someone who's you know can take care of themselves and don't need you around 24/7, you know, you can pursue your dream. It's huge, and I think it's good for the relationship.
Yeah, it is. You know, and it's just I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's not hard. You know, anything that, you know, if it wasn't hard, then everyone would be doing it, they say, right?
Yeah.
But it's you know, she's a freaking the best person ever, man. And my family's supportive. I have a huge support structure, dude. I mean, it's awesome, man. I couldn't have done it without any of them. You know, and I think a lot of people they think that you can just go in and fight, and you know, they think fighting's so easy. They don't understand that what you actually really have to do and what really goes on with a fighter. Like, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, he sucked today, and they're talking about guys at a high level. It's like, dude, how do you know what this guy's going through? You know, you don't know what he's going through. You don't know if he had a tough camp of injuries or, you know, maybe he has relationship problems, personal problems. There's a lot. There's one thing about this sport is you can't half-ass it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You gotta fully do. You gotta fully do it. You can't half it because the truth comes out in the cage. And I'm a firm believer of that. You can act all as tough as you want. You can do all this stuff. You can say what you want to do. Once that cage door closes and they say, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go," we find out who the real men are, you know. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just this, especially at the amateur level. You know, there's a huge gap between guys that are prepared and guys that are, just out there to just scratch it off their bucket list. And in the pros, you see guys who are consistent, and then when things start, going tough for them, and their performance suffers for it. The guys that you don't hear the excuses right away, like you see them come back on track, and but eventually, these things come out because people want to know why the performance wavered. And they're human. They get injuries, they get surgeries, they injuries, and they hide it, and they want to compete anyway. So yeah, I mean, these things happen.
They really do. I broke my leg walking in a parking lot, dude. New Year's Day. Walked out of a restaurant and they didn't clean their parking lot. It slipped, fell, laughed, looked at my black belt, looked at my leg, and said I broke my leg. I broke my tibia and fibula in 2 places. I have 9 screws and 2 plates in it now, walking from a parking lot. Lost a huge contract out of the deal. I was sidelined for a year. So injuries, it's not even physically, the physical part that's the hard part of coming back. It's the mental part. But I think after that injury I had, I think it made me better as a fighter. It lit my fire again. It made me, taking something away from me for a whole year that I love, motivated, and made me just put my head down. And I'm not one of those guys that has to Facebook everything that I do, that I'm training, that I have to do all this. I'm a professional fighter. I should be in the gym every day. That's how I look at it. I should be working hard. Not everyone needs to know about it. I don't really care if they do. But, I get yelled at a lot by my manager and stuff because I don't promote myself enough, I guess. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line on that. There's some things, I like taking a lot of, pictures, but I don't necessarily share them all. And sometimes, if my kids are doing something cool, I just sit back and watch them. I don't reach for the phone because sometimes by the time you get it, the moment's over.
Yeah.
So sometimes some things you just got to remember. So
yeah.
About this injury, like approximately, like when did that happen? Like, is that something you can talk about?
Yeah. So I just got off the Ultimate Fighter. I broke my hand in the Ultimate Fighter. I just get out, heading out to Colorado. My car was packed. I was ready for camp, and we do this benefit every year. It's called the Polar Plunge in Lake George.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you've heard of it. You go into the cold water January 1st, and I go and I stay in for 5 minutes. And we left and we all went up to eat lunch, and we ate lunch. It was good. We were leaving eating lunch. I slipped on ice, fell, broke my leg. Went to the hospital. Ended up going down to New York City to New York Yankees orthopedic surgeon, and got my legs. Got surgery on my leg, and I got 9 screws and 2 plates in it, and they're still in there today.
And that was right after Tough 16?
Yep. And I lost a lot of degrees in my dorsiflexion and my plantar flexion, which is you push your toes forward and you pull your toes back. I lost about 10 degrees in each direction. So I used to have a really pretty good blast double leg, but I can't. I don't have that anymore off of that foot.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. So that 10 degrees each way, that's something you definitely notice, huh?
Yeah, yep. It's something that, I just kind of say, hey, it's what it is, and now I got to learn how to be the best with what I have.
So
not think about what I don't have,
Oh yeah. I mean, you adapt and that's it.
adapt and overcome, my man.
So Tough 16. Can you talk to us about the tryouts?
Yeah, so the tryouts were a day. You fly out to Las Vegas. It's 3 rounds. Grappling, hitting mitts, and then an interview.
Which part did you excel in?
Well, the jiu-jitsu, obviously. I think I submitted my guy like 7 times or something like that, 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then mitts, and then the interview. They already really know who they're picking anyway.
Oh, really? So this is kind of like kind of testing performance anxiety?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what they do, but then you go to the interview, and then they go, okay, then whatever, and then you either get a call or you don't. And then when they call you, you have to fly back out for another interview, and you have to do medicals and do all that stuff. So you're out there for like 3 days instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you go out there, you fly out, you do another interview, they give you medicals, and then they call you and say, hey, you're on the show. Be out here, have this, this, and this. And they send you a list, and you have to get everything on the list, and then you go out there, and then you fight to get on the show.
So what's on the list?
Like Q-tips, like stuff like that, like Q-tips. You can only have shower shoes. You can't have any clothing. You can only bring 2 pairs of clothes because they give you all the clothing because you wear all their clothes. And like mouthwash, and you can't have, some certain things you can't have, like certain razors and just stuff like that. Like if you're going to boot camp.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You go to college and they give you the list of what to have.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't really follow that list.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone really does.
My mother did. She didn't let me bring a TV because they said no TVs. And I told her it couldn't be accurate, but she would not let me bring a TV to my freshman year.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, we overcome. Speaking of clothing, how many fight kits do you own?
How many fight what?
How many UFC fight kits do you own?
Like the Reebok ones?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, I thought you might say that.
If I'm gonna buy mine when it comes out, when I get back into the UFC.
Well, yeah, I tell you, if you make it in UFC, I will buy one.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really follow MMA like that. Like the clothing apparel. I dress weird, man.
Well, it is getting torn apart by every MMA media that's out there. It seems like everybody hates it.
Yeah, it takes a lot from the fighters. I think they're just trying to make it more like football, having like uniforms and stuff, and that's just how you make more money, I guess.
So when you were on the show, was it Carwin that was your coach?
Yep, Shane Carwin. Yep.
And I looked this up and I saw that Dwayne Ludwig was on the coaching staff.
He was, yes.
Did you get to work with him?
I did.
Because he's kind of in the spotlight right now with the whole thing that's going on with Dillashaw and Team Alpha Male and the split, and like Dwayne Ludwig is kind of like he's right in the middle of it pretty much.
Yeah, Dwayne's a good dude, man. Dwayne's a very smart coach, very, very good, and you can tell with TJ Dillashaw. I don't know about all the accusations that those guys made. I don't know what. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Uriah and them. But I just don't know. I never seen that. We've never seen that side of him. He's really nice to us.
It's probably a lot more complicated than they're releasing. So I don't know. It's definitely entertaining, and I think that the Dillashaw and Faber fight is what's going to materialize, down the road. So it's kind of like and this whole thing is kind of like the lead up to it. So fights only last 15, 25 minutes at the top, at the most, but the build up is is really the entertaining part.
I would watch the fight. I know that. There's already drama in it, so.
Yeah, see if they fight extra hard, and see if anyone dies out trying to throw haymakers.
Yeah.
But, I think anyway that's going to be a good fight. I mean, they're both so good and skilled. You mentioned like promoting earlier. Do you like on your team? Do you have like a manager?
Yeah, I have a manager. And my head coach does a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they do a lot, dude. Eddie does a wicked lot for me. Eddie 5e, guy's my biggest secret. Him and Darren Rafferty, and a guy he went to Brockport, Jason Spector.
Oh yeah, I know Spector.
Jason's my mental coach, and just I have all three of these guys in my corner, and it's like I feel invincible, man, because they train me to be the best me, and we train to win, and we leave it all on the mat. It's been clicking with us. And once I make the announcement, you'll see it's a huge step up in competition. It's a huge opportunity. I cannot wait because I'm going to show the world who Matt Secor really is. It's going to be awesome.
Man, you get me excited, and especially with this Jason Spector. You say he's your mental coach?
Yes.
Without giving away too much, because I firmly believe in, not revealing too much, but tell me a little bit about what he does without giving away too much.
Our mind's a muscle, and we train physically so much, and mentally we don't train at all. And you have to, I have all these drills that I do mentally, and the breathing, concentrating on your breath and all this stuff. It works, man, because everything that gets put in, what is life? In the simplistic way, what is life? Life is trying to be happy, right? Happy is being comfortable. Well, you want to know what? There's a lot of things that go wrong in life, and they make you uncomfortable, right? So we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, especially in a fight. I mean, you're going to be in bad positions. There's going to be things that will happen. It's a very uncomfortable, and from just the anxiety aspect of it, you being on the national finals, there's a lot of uncomfortability there. And it's the guy that can, suck it up and be comfortable there and say, hey, I've been here. I've been here before. But when you don't train yourself, it's like guys cutting weight. They cut all this weight and they're like, yeah, I just guess this is going to work. They don't ever do any practice weight cuts. They don't cut weight the right way. That can only last for a little bit, man. It catches up with you quick.
So how long has Spector been working with you?
My last fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He was a former Burlington Brawl, I think, heavyweight champ.
Yup, and Brockport, I think, All-American.
Yeah. He took third, and his final match for third place, he was losing, and I've heard this story a million times. He gets up, and it's like a 1-point match, and he takes the guy down like at the last second and to win the match, and that put the team from fourth place to third place. So yeah, I mean he performed under pressure. And one thing about Brockport guys, especially back then, they were mentally tough and physically tough, but definitely mentally tough.
Yeah, the mind. You are with what you think you are, my man. It's not necessarily going in there and beating the person that's across from you. It's going in there and beating you. Being the best you can be. Like I live by an acronym. It's called KISS. Keep it simple, Secor. In the Army, they said keep it simple, stupid. But keep it simple, Secor. And I just keep everything simple. I said, hey, all right, I got to perform. A lot of people get wrapped up in, oh, he does this, he does that, he does this, oh, he does this. I don't care what that person does. I watch tape once or twice. I have my corners, I have my coaches, my corners watch tape. Then we drill, we train, we game plan for what they see and what we need to work on. I just put it together and I react. I'm like the robot.
It sounds like it's definitely beneficial to have such a high level team behind you. you have like a dedicated striking coach, dedicated grappling coach, and then like an overall head coach and manager.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's got to be so important. When did you enter into that infrastructure? Was that there from day one, like as an amateur, or is that something you transitioned into?
No, as an amateur, I was a pure grappler. Pure grappler. I don't even think I threw a punch till my like fifth fight. I just took people down and submitted them. But that just shows you the level of jiu-jitsu that we get here. Eddie is a genius. Started working with Darren 4 fights ago. Darren Rafferty. He's from Warrensburg. He grew up with Lenny. He has his master's degree in sports science, and he's my strength and conditioning coach and my boxing coach. He was a Golden Gloves champ. Guy was an animal. And he's a Marine, so we'll just say that I don't slack. It gets done. The work gets done, or I pass out. Either one. Yeah, you know, it's about you got to get people that push you. Like I said, being uncomfortable. You know, it's about pushing yourself to that limit. How bad do you want it?
Are you able to train full time, or do you have a day job?
I work for New York State. I work for intellectually disabled people part time.
Mm-hmm.
I do it because I like doing it. My mother works for the state. She has for 33 years, so I grew up with the guy. So it was just natural for me to do it. I get full benefits too. And like I said, it's like balance, man. You got to balance.
Sounds to me like that would be like an intrinsically rewarding job. You know, something that you enjoy doing, and obviously different from fighting.
It is. No, because you know, my father told me this when I was young. My father passed away about 3 years ago, but he was my biggest fan. But he when I was young, he told me, he said, even if you have a best friend, if you lock each other in the closet, it's just a matter of time before you're going to fight each other. I look at that with, you know, that's overloading someone in your life. You know, I look at that as overloading something in your life. You know, you can only take so much. It's like when you eat Oreo cookies. We're wrestlers. We like Oreo cookies, right?
Yep.
If you eat one Oreo cookie, you're like, dude, Oreo cookies are awesome. But if you eat the whole box of Oreo cookies, you're like, dude, I don't want any Oreo cookies for a while. I just ate way too many. It's the same thing when you overtrain. You know, overtraining, and you do it mentally too. Just thinking about your fight, you have to let your head rest. You have to let your body rest and go do something else. There's more in life than just fighting and being the best. You got to go be the best at other things too.
You've had 2 fights this year. You're pretty much set, pending an announcement for a fight in January, you said?
Yep.
With Bellator.
Yep.
You are you under contract with Bellator?
I am. Yep. I got 2 more fights with them.
Now, you mentioned getting back into the UFC, and I want to ask you a couple more Bellator questions, but I don't know, it's just kind of something I'm curious about. You're in Bellator, and you're looking to get back into the UFC. I mean, they're direct competitors. How does this dynamic work?
You know, I look at it like this. I just want to fight at a higher level. I think that, and I can do that in Bellator too. You know, who knows? You know, I don't know what the future is going to be. All I can do is train for what I have, and obviously the 3-letter word is the one that everyone wants to be in. You know, but I'll fight in Bellator, man. I'll fight anywhere, man. It depends on who wants to make me home. You know, wants to make me at home. I fight for Bellator. They're a great organization. They take care of you. I fought for World Series, same thing. They take care of you. UFC, they take care of you. I just want to live my dream, man. I want to live it. I want to do it. I don't want to be a woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. I want to get to the highest level and fight the toughest guys at 170, and I want to win.
It does seem to me that, like, with this whole Reebok thing, that there is a paradigm shift that's happening, and it looks like, you know, like since Scott Coker took over Bellator. What's our light heavyweight that went from UFC to Bellator?
Peter Ortiz?
No. Boy, I'm drawing a blank. Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, Phil Davis.
Phil Davis, yeah. I think he's like the first free agent to go from UFC to Bellator. So it does look to me, you know, from the outside, that there's a shift going on. So, you know, I'm just curious as to, you know, an insider's opinion on that.
I think a lot of fighters fight for money, which is good. You got to take care of your family. You got to look for your future. I necessarily don't. I fight because I like to. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like to. There's a lot easier ways to make money than go fight grown men for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think people lose that aspect. They're like, oh, well, dude, if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't have done that because there's no freaking money in it. There is if you make it to the elite level, but, all the sacrifice you have to take financially and everything, and as an amateur fighter, even as a low pro, as a low, if you get into the UFC as a low, it's still hard to survive. But, I do it for free. I would do it. I would fight for free. That's it. I would fight for free. And the day I don't want to is the day I know that I need to retire.
There's a lot to be said about that because, I came from wrestling. I do the Naga tournaments. You're paying to get into those tournaments to compete, and they still charge admission for spectators at those tournaments, even high school tournaments. You go to any NCAA tournament, they're charging because it's a fundraiser to keep these things going. So those guys are paying to get in. With fighting, you got to be top tier to really do well, and everyone that's underneath is still looks like to me like they're still in it for the love, and if they're getting paid, well, that's cool.
Yeah, well, you even look at the high level guys. Just because you get money doesn't mean you know how to keep it. You know what I mean? You got to know how to manage money as well. Me and my wife just recently bought a house. We're having our first kid. We just got married. We did that with all strategic, things. We're just we're not wealthy. We're wealthy in love. It depends on what your wealth is, and I think happiness and love is wealth, not money. But like I said, I do it because I love doing it, and I wouldn't do it if I don't. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
You bring up finance. I had heard that like fighters that are signed in the UFC, they're kind of sat down and or put through some kind of class, regarding, financial education or investment. Have you ever experienced that, being affiliated with Tough and UFC and Bellator?
No. My mom taught me.
Yeah?
Yeah, my mom's a pretty smart lady, man.
That's good to have. It seems like people, well, I've heard the stories where, guys get paid in Vegas and then they go out to the casino and they blow their whole paycheck. And it's crazy because, some fighters, you fight 4 times a year, you're getting paid 4 times a year. It's not like, you have a day job and you're getting paid weekly or every other week. You're getting paid 4 times a year, and you're just gonna blow one paycheck. That's huge.
I think that's just a bigger distraction than anything. Worrying about pay and all that. That's why I have a manager. They worry about all that.
I would think the night after a big fight, you probably want to go back and get a good meal and rest and go home and maybe do something at home.
After my last fight, I got checked by a doctor, got paid, got in my car, and drove to my wife.
Yeah?
3.5 hours away. Yep.
What's the furthest you've had to travel?
For what? For training or for
For a fight or competition?
Canada. I fought in Ontario.
Mhm. So would
will be in California. Competition. I've been all over the place, man. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to California, Florida, France, Australia, all over the place.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Do you surf?
What was that?
Do you surf?
I don't surf.
Because Hawaii, Australia, those are the hotbeds.
I don't like sharks.
Yeah.
I don't like not being the alpha male. It sounds so egotistical, but I don't like being a prey, if that makes sense. I like being the predator. I like that a lot, and I like all my extremities.
Yeah.
How tough you are, you're not beating up a shark, so.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But I think if I found myself in Hawaii, I think I'd grab a surfboard.
Yeah, I when we went there, well, we've been there a couple times, me and my wife. And when I went there, it was just like, I don't know, dude. I don't go in past my waist. Don't like sharks. I like being the shark.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably grab the surfboard and just paddle around on it, but just scratching that one off the list, surfing in
Oh
Hawaii.
yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
World Series of Fighting, you fought for them earlier this year,
Yeah, I had 2 fights with them. Yep.
and I think the big story on the last one was Nick Newell's retirement.
Yeah,
And
Nick Newell fought my teammate.
oh yeah, Tommy Guns, right?
Yep.
Marcelino, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a good fight.
I think Tommy won that fight. I think Nick tapped out. Nick did tap out. Nick knows he tapped out. He's the one that has to live with that. And then he fucking retired right after.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I had heard. I think he was on some podcast after that. Newell, and yeah, and they didn't bring up the tap. When did that happen? One of the guillotines?
Tap happened with the guillotine in the 3rd round.
In the 3rd round?
Yep.
Yeah, I can understand him being pissed. Yeah, Tommy looks like he doesn't mess around.
It just sucks, man. As hard as you train, it just sucks that they took that away from him.
You think there's like a hierarchy as far as the referees?
I don't know. I don't know how any of that works. Everyone's human, man. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. My phone might die on you, man.
Okay, yeah, I think we've been going here for, geez, let me see, almost 47 minutes. Is there anything else? I know you can't break news, but is there anything else you want to get out there?
No, just check me out on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll make my announcement in the next couple of days.
You got a Twitter?
I do. It's at Secor Matthew.
At Secor Matthew, and Facebook it's Matt Secor, and you can always, if you listen to this and you're probably finding it on Facebook, he's on my friends list. You can always find him that way. Do you have a fighter page?
Yep, Matt Secor.
Matt Secor, perfect. No ring name?
No ring name.
Not yet, or just something that you just don't care about?
I feel like someone's got to give that to you. I don't know. I just don't have one. I don't know what it is.
Somebody must have tried to give you one by now. Just something not fit?
Never got one that's good, I'll tell you that much.
Got everything off of my topics list here.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. Trying to get guys thinking bigger in the area. There's talk of a lot of guys in the Vermont circuit about going pro. So, I kind of wanted to get some insight from someone who has been through it, and it looks to me like you've hit the 3 major organizations, which is UFC, Bellator, and World Series of Fighting. And we've been talking for like 48 minutes, and we probably haven't even scratched the surface of everything you've experienced.
I would like to do more seminars and stuff if people would have me, but the timing is everything. I'd like to schedule more that I can. But yeah. I'd love to come to Vermont with you guys, teach you guys some stuff, and try to learn some stuff as well.
Do you have like a going rate, or is that something that would just kind of depend on?
Oh, you kind of talk. It's something that's negotiable. We have family in Burlington. We love Burlington.
Well, there's supposed to be a big card for the Extreme Combat promotion in December in Burlington at the Holiday Inn. So maybe we can butt something up against you can do a seminar that day or something.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, just tell them get a hold of me on Facebook or whatever, and we'll figure it out. Cool,
man. I'm just throwing out ideas, but hey, So thanks a lot, and looking forward to the announcement. I'm going to be watching closely, and I'll keep that promise about the UFC fight kit.
All right, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good day, dude.
Yeah, tell everyone I said hi.
All right, I will.
Thank you.
Matt Secor, thank you very much for giving so much of your time for this little interview and the podcast. We spent over 40 minutes, well over 45 minutes, and we barely scratched the surface. I didn't know this, but I went back and did the research because I tried to find his Bellator 144 fight that he just won. And I come to learn that he also competed in the Eddie Bravo Invitational 3. So Matt has a wealth of knowledge. He's very well trained. He's a very good guy, and he's one hell of a competitor. And if you didn't catch his announcement on Facebook, he will be facing none other than Josh Koscheck on January 29th in Fresno, California. It will air on Spike. So that is going to be awesome. I cannot wait for this matchup. Well, that was kind of weird when he was talking about Nick Newell. He said that he had tapped in that guillotine attempt in the third round against Marcelino. And I went back and looked at that videotape. I enclosed a link to YouTube in the show notes. And at about 18 minutes and 5 seconds of that video, there's a minute and change left in the round. And you kind of see Newell do this Brazilian tap. You can see he's got a thumbs up, and then the camera angle changes, and it looks like he's tapping. And the referee, Dan Miragliotta, you see him step in like he's gonna stop it, and then you see him stop. So and it also, if you look at the hand, it looks like he's putting a thumbs up. So it looks like he was doing that Brazilian tap. But it's a tough one. It's a tough call there. But I can definitely see what Matt was talking about with him tapping, and I know that there was some controversy. The podcast I had mentioned during the show was Ariel Helwani's, the MMA Hour, and Newell was talking about how Marcelino was doing push-ups behind him and kind of taunting him and saying, "Yeah, you lost that fight." And now I can see where that's coming from, because it definitely looked like he tapped. So check out the video, see for yourself, and leave a post in the comments section. Other things coming up this weekend, we have UFC 193 pay-per-view, Rousey versus Holm, and also Johan Jacek versus Latorno. Also, Mark Hunt and Bigfoot Silva meet for the second time. Also on the card, Uriah Hall steps up against Whitaker. And Stefan Struve, the Skyscraper, returns against Rochold. Also on the card is Vellante. He's a Long Island guy. He's Weidman's teammate, so I give a shout out to him for Long Island. Bringing it back to the region, we have this weekend Extreme Combat Promotions in Bennington, Vermont. That's this Saturday. We also have Extreme Combat next weekend in Lyndonville. In that vein, Kathy Richardson is looking for a 135-pound professional. So if you are interested in fighting in Vermont, contact Kathy Richardson on Facebook as soon as possible. Also, next Saturday night, November 14th, is Gladius Fights 19. I want to give a big shout out to the guys over at Gladius. They run a hell of a show, and they're doing big things over there. That one takes place in Rochester, New York. A couple more things here. I want to do some thank yous and some shout outs. Number one is to Prototype 2 on SoundCloud. He provides the music. I want to say big thanks to Prototype 2. Check him out. Subscribe to him on SoundCloud. Also, I want to give a shout out to the guys at Plattsburgh Combat Sports and the guys at Powerhouse Gym, Keith Provost, running that gym and doing an excellent job. If you're in the Plattsburgh area, check out the Ninja Training Room. It's awesome. It's just like American Ninja Warrior, the show. Also, congratulations to Andre Belcaris for his win last week. Thanks for coming on the show. I thought that first show was awesome, and it was all you, brother. Also, a shout to Kathy Richardson and Kyle Santelli with Extreme Combat Promotions. They got 2 shows coming up, 2 weeks in a row, Bennington and Lyndonville, as I mentioned. So check out those shows. Tickets are like $25, $30 at the door. They're awesome shows. Fighters come out to fight. Lots of entertainment. You guys get fights, grappling matches, there's a grappling tournament, and also support those sponsors that support the show, Extreme Combat. We got to show them love so that we can have these events all over the place. She goes 5 different locations around Vermont and New York. So if you guys support those sponsors, we'll be able to continue these shows. And also support this show. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, PCS MMA. It's all going to be in the show notes. And also leave a comment. Subscribe on iTunes and share on Facebook. So that is it for this week's episode. I am Frank Palumbo for Podcast Combat Sports. Ciao.